Presidency has clarified that Vice-President Kashim Shettima's recent comments about former President Goodluck Jonathan were not aimed at President Bola Tinubu or the political crisis in Rivers State. Shettima's remarks made during a book launch in Abuja recounted past events during the Boko Haram insurgency and praised former Speaker Aminu Tambuwal for upholding constitutional principles. A statement by Stanley Okwocha, spokesperson for the Vice President, described media interpretations of Shettima's comments as misleading and dangerous. He stressed that the Vice President's reflections were historical and unrelated to Tinubu's recent declaration of a state of emergency in Rivers, which he said followed due constitutional process. Okwocha reaffirmed that President Tinubu did not remove Governor Siminalayi Fubara from office, but only approved a suspension in line with Section 305 subsection 2 of the Constitution. He emphasized that the administration's commitments to democracy, national stability, and responsible governance amid ongoing political tensions. Gochukwu, what do you make of this statement by the president debunking the interpretation given to Shettima's statement in Abuja with regards to the state of emergency in Rivers State? No. Shettima did not talk about state of emergency in Rivers State. He spoke about his personal experience.
But we all know why he made that statement. He made that statement because of the situation in Rivers State. I wouldn't take that away, because for him to have trying to draw comparison, something that will make you to draw a comparison. You don't draw comparison from one side. He didn't draw comparison. No, from what I read his statement, he made a very sagacious and sarcastic statement.
What was the statement that was
he sarcastic? Read it. Yes, he said that the president, there was something I discussed with you off camera. I said that I have not seen where the president, in as much as what the president did in Rivers State, I welcomed it as the last option to douse the tension, because it reached to a boiling point. It reached a point, even some of us here on national television, we begin to hide our faces. So it was getting to the time that we begin to experience what happened in the early 2000s, where some politicians and some analysts began to stay away from stations. They were being intimidated, harassed, and people resorted to self-help in order to gag some of the people that were speaking out. I was not in Rivers State then, but I had all those when it was so volatile for even analysts and some journalists. The society were sharply divided, that people even started going, physical. So, but it was getting to that. I was here when the whole issue started, and we were drumming that drum, drawing attention of the government, the suspended governor, to what it will lead to in the nearest future. And we got there. So when we got there now, and this opportunity presented itself, that there have been this Cold War between the Vice President camp and Mr. President camp.
It has been debunked severally.
With what the statement he made has got it to the fore. No, this state, for him to have used such a sensitive, if there have no state of emergency anywhere in Nigeria,
and he made that statement.
And there will be no comparison. So however they want to debunk it, at least we went to small school now. We can read, we can differentiate between what you meant by is and was. So when this kind of statements are made, that's why I tell you that you can't use one parallel statement or event to draw a comparison. It is when you have one, which have taken a long time. I heard that in 1956, there was one Man United player that featured at the age of 15 years and 200 and something days. And there is another one they signed that if he makes an appearance in the coming season, he will now be the youngest at age 15 to 100 and something days. You see the comparison after so much a long time. 1956, nobody has broken that record, and somebody might break it in 2025-2026 season. That's what we talk about comparison. But since no teenager has emerged within that age bracket, has there been a comparison? I've not read it. So history does not lie. The Cold War between the camp of Mr. President and Shettima, and we are saying that it has been debunked, but Ganduje has been ousted. Ganduje has been ousted, giving a room to the insinuations we are getting for the...
Ganduje resigned. Why you say Ganduje? That was not what happened. Ganduje willingly resigned.
He resigned on health ground, but he didn't take a medical trip. Well, now he has been appointed.
Well, Ganduje resigned. He's on the, he has gotten an appointment. Yes, but he resigned.
But we are talking about we that are political pundits. Allow us to do our punditing. No.
Yeah, you can pundit, but
allow us to do our punditing.
When you say he was ousted, anybody listening to you will literally take you by your words. He was not ousted. He resigned. You could now
was pressured into...
Hold on. You can look at the circumstances that led to the resignation.
Yes.
You can look at the body language and what that resignation could mean. But using certain statements like he was ousted, that did not happen.
Okay.
He resigned. So at least
Ganduje's sudden resignation.
Okay, go ahead.
Sudden resignation has exposed a lot of things. That APC as a ship is not even healthy. It's beginning to, take in some water gradually. And remember that as of 2 months ago, we are talking about this implosion when they were hyping, especially when the governor of Delta State entered. So many of us were talking about implosion. How will they be able to manage? This morning I was even reading that Omar Gege is somewhere. So you could see now they can't manage. That is when you marry so many wives. You might be enjoying the cruise initially, but the weight, when it begins to weigh over time, can you be able to manage it? So the statement of VP Shettima, chronicling his own experience, which he has not shared in any public forum, I have not read. Those things have been with him even when they worked on that guy. Of course, for him to have supported the ouster of Jonathan, he was still an opposition governor. The state of Borno has been in opposition all this while until 2015 when they came into power. Even till today, I still see some of those governors, even Tinubu, as an opposition leader, because for PDP to have said, for them to have manipulated and maneuver their way of removing PDP out of power through their healthy opposition is still, in my thinking, reserving all of them as opposition political parties till now, despite the fact they have been in power. And if you see how it is happening, they have been fighting themselves from Lukman, that resigned as the director or spokesperson of the APC Governors Forum. He has continued to chastise APC. Solomon Dalon has continued to chastise APC. Even edified that Hideto worked for the emergence of Tinubu. And you could see that Loretta Onochie and Boss Mustafa, you saw the statement of Boss Mustafa. So within APC themselves, they have blocks. I don't know the one they call the Liberty or the block from CPC. That's what they call themselves. There's a word they call themselves. That APC, that CPC block. So they fragmented into one body, but living in different rooms, according to Bola Tinubu. He said we are living in the same house, in the same roof, under the same roof, but in different rooms. So that had been the bane of APC. And Kashim Shettima, coming from that AMPP block, is still man alone. So the statement he made is because of what had been happening. You saw a few months ago when he had that someone from his office leaked is Sheikh Tinubu that is now the VP. That one, they will try to manage it. They used 21 billion to renovate or finish up the VP apartment, and he has refused to go and stay in there. So if you juxtapose those things that have been happening and revolving around the office of the Vice President of Nigeria, you will have a better understanding for where that statement is coming from. That statement is meant to throw jabs, to taunt Mr. President and his handlers, to tell the Nigerian public that the center is not holding as we are seeing it. So for him to use the book launch of former Attorney General of the Federation, Andoaka, to make such a statement that the man saved his blushes when Jonathan wanted to use the overbearing powers of the Nigerian president. And that will also tell you that Jonathan is a listening president. He listened to the extent that he even made further consultations when he was not satisfied. Maybe because those people have their blogs, or they might be sympathetic to the North. He said, okay, let me go and make further research. And he got the phone. So the question now will be, where did Mr. President, if the Attorney General of the Federation said, and another son, is it Turaki or somebody in that particular Jonathan's cabinet then, affirmed what Andoaka said, and said that, Mr. President, you don't have the powers to remove even a sitting councillor. That was the one that even touched me. An election is conducted, the INEC ratified it, according to the electoral act. Those that will go to court went to court. The courts of competent jurisdiction, from the tribunal to the courts that are mandated to see those elections, affirmed it. How can one man, by fiat, take unilateral decision in removing a democratically elected? Yes, you can remove the executive powers, as they tell us in Rivers State about the suspended governor. But to say that the governor should not go to his office, should not go to represent the people, and we know that even when some emergency rules were declared in Nigeria, they were functioning. Are you aware? Are you aware with the sitting governor?
Hold on. Are you aware that to a large extent the Constitution in section 305 is silent about the peculiarity of Rivers State's constitution?
Yes, I am.
Because when we make analysis, it's important that we are holistic about it. Now, the Constitution on emergency rule talks about war, talks about crisis, talks about insecurity, talks about sabotage, economic sabotage, talks about natural disasters.
Yes.
But never spoke about when it is the executive
that is involved.
When the executive is the arrowhead of the crisis.
That is involved in the crisis.
Not involved.
Okay.
I did not say involved.
That is brewing the crisis.
I did not say involved. I said the Constitution in emergency rule 305, section 305, did not make provisions when the executive or the governor himself is the arrowhead of the crisis.
That's what
when the legislature is the arrowhead of the crisis.
I'm with you.
So if the Constitution is silent on that, what would you have the president do when political solutions have failed in Rivers State? Court orders failed in Rivers State. Court judgments failed in Rivers State. Supreme Court judgments, they were failed because they were still going back and forth and playing politics
with it.
Even with it, until then, economic sabotage now entered the whole play. The crisis took a different dimension when pipelines started exploding, based on the boast of some persons.
Yes.
And these explosions coincided when the threats of impeachment became real. So we cannot sweep these peculiarities under the carpet.
Of course.
Right? Now, while I have reservations about killings in Borno State, Zamfara and all of that, and one would say this has come to a point where there should be emergency rule in these states. But the peculiarity in that state and the peculiarity of Rivers State is different.
Our own is political crisis.
The Constitution does not specify what happens when the governor refuses to obey the law, when the governor refuses to work with the constitution, and when the governor refuses to obey court judgment in order to bring sanity
to the
and
policy.
Again, when the legislature refuses to stand down as well.
Yes,
so when you look at these things, what would you have the president do? That's on one hand. Not forgetting that there was there was an incident that happened in this country that was not covered in the constitution, and that was when Yar'Adua died. And of course, former President Goodluck Jonathan has come out to give an expose on what happened, and the fact that he wrote, Yar'Adua wrote, to hand over power to him, and an aide to the late president and there was a cabal in the country at that time. I mean, these things were not hidden.
Yes.
Did Dora Akunyili not play a major role in the exposition of what happened in that administration? Why is that Akunyili today? But the question I am asking is, at that moment, the National Assembly had to invoke the order of necessity because the peculiarity of that situation was not covered by the Constitution. So if we are analyzing this situation in Rivers State, I will now ask you a direct question. Was Rivers State situation covered in section 305 of the Nigerian Constitution?
Laurentia, you know that I wouldn't want us to dive into that. We have gone past.
But you've been diving into it. You were the one that came there.
What I'm saying in effect is that I mean the whole hula baloo of the section 305. But what I want to say is this: we saw in some states in Nigeria that emergency is declared, but whoever is sent there to mediate or to take charge we saw them working hand in glove with the executive governor. My misgiving, I said it in my first statement in this segment. I said that in as much as I welcome what Mr. President did, but we can't take away that the Constitution was not explicit on it. Then, if the Constitution in the Catholic Church we have one of our bylaws that say when you are in doubt, don't act. When you are in doubt, you shouldn't act. So this removal of a democratically elected governor that has the mandate of the people, that is not by the proclamation or the statement of Mr. President that made him a governor. He's not a solad. He's not an appointee. He's not an appendage or an extension of the office of Mr. President in Abuja. It's the people of Rivers State.
Was the democratically elected governor, according to you, acting democratically? Will you say there was democracy in Rivers State?
No, there was a breakdown of...
What was the difference? What's the difference between this current state of emergency and what we had then? Is there a legislature now?
No, there is not.
But is judiciary working now?
Yeah, judiciary is working.
Then, during the time when the suspended governor was still active, was the legislature working?
We have function. Yes.
Was the legislature working?
The legislature working.
Okay, tell me.
They are sitting. They are factional
now, very well,
sittings.
I will now ask you a question. I'm not dealing with the faction. I am looking at the Rivers State House of Assembly.
Yes.
Martin Samehule Rivers, because that is what the court
they recognized.
Now I'm asking you, were they working at that time?
No, the governor were not recognizing them.
Was the judiciary working then?
Yeah, the judiciary was working.
Now we have a Solad, correct?
Yes.
Good. Who is not democratically elected but appointed by the president? He is working without a legislature. By the way, he's working with National Assembly. So we actually have legislative. We have legislative oversight functions in Rivers State, and the judiciary is working. But in Rivers State, then we had an executive. We had no legislature. We had no legislature. We didn't even have any legislative oversights in Rivers State.
Was going on, yes.
But we had the judiciary. So right now we have National Assembly legislative for Rivers State. Then in Rivers State there was no legislature at all. So between now and then, which would you say is more democratic?
It's neither here nor there. No, it is neither here nor there.
You're going there?
No, it is neither here nor there. Why I said it's neither here nor there. Hence, there is a provision for an emergency to be declared in a state, given the peculiarities of the time. And in what was happening in Rivers State, remember that when this issue was up, I said, I made a statement here that it is not to be compared where you have a war going on, because like the example of Shettima, when he was the governor of Borno State, I made an expose here that it is even the sitting governor and the legislature that will report what is happening in their state to the federal government, and now liaise with the federal government in the declaration of the state of emergency, knowing the way the state of emergency should go and the way it will take the directives that Mr. President has given in order to bring normalcy to why the state of emergency is being declared. But in Rivers State, the peculiarity is because those that are in charge of the affairs are the ones that are, that are involved in the crisis. So how will the Mr. President now come in and mend those fences? Because the people that should be interfacing with him, or he should be interfacing with, in order for the state of emergency, when he's bringing in a military, so to say, maybe if we have an insurrection, to bring it to normalcy, are the people that are involved in the crisis. So for him, for there to be peace, he has to do the needful, invoke that doctrine of necessity that gave him the clause. In section 305, there are places that are silent where the president can now have the intent when he sees that there is an imminent. Imminent means it has not happened. That is where Mr. President derives his power. But what I'm saying is that going by the explicit letters of the Constitution, that he can, hence this person is elected and not through him. There should have been a way we go around it, because if you want to do a state of emergency,
what way would you have suggested?
The way we should have suggested, this particular National Assembly now that has taken over legislative functions should have been the people that will be mandated to mediate and look at what is happening and set something like a committee that will interface and mediate what is happening in Rivers State. But we are here already. Because here's the Constitution.
National Assembly is not mandated to interfere in the activities of the state executive. You should understand that, because while you're trying to, we should align with the Constitution, you are also trying to bring in constitutional overreach. How is it the business of the National Assembly?
No. But we are looking for political solution.
No. When you say
this is a political solution, is it not?
When you cannot bring in constitutional, you are condemning one constitutional overreach and you're bringing another constitutional overreach. Make it make sense.
No, what I'm saying is that hence we are looking for peace. Remember, is it constitutional that Fubara and the state assembly went to Abuja, and there was an 8-point agenda resolution to bring peace?
Should I ask you a question?
Is it that one that is constitutional?
Should I ask you a question?
Yes.
At the end of the day, is there peace in Rivers State right now?
My sister, the peace is still a piece of the graveyard.
Compared to what was then, is there peace in Rivers State right now?
There is a political peace.